everybody, what's up? It's Lakh and welcome back to my channel and welcome to the beginner series. So this is episode 1 of the beginner series, and so this series is gonna be obviously for beginners and anybody else really who wants to watch. But so I wanted to start this series because I had been talking with a couple of my friends and they've been telling me that they're intimidated by makeup and that makeup's just, it seems like a lot. And so they kind of just shy away from it because it's so many steps and they don't think they can do it because they just have never been taught how and just don't know how. And so a lot of my friends recently and in the past have always asked me questions about makeup and stuff like that ever since I got into it myself. And so I learned everything that I know from YouTube. And so I was like, okay, what better way to show my friends how to do it and show all of you guys how to do it than to just make a video about it and just to make a whole series about it. So that's when I thought of the idea, and so yeah, that's what the series is gonna be about. It's gonna be videos that are beginner friendly. So I'm gonna talk to you guys about what makeup I'm using and why I'm using it and what places to put it in, rather than a normal makeup tutorial where I kind of just put on the stuff and you guys just follow along and just know what I'm talking about, right? And so yeah, these videos are gonna be a little bit more detailed so you guys know exactly what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, so you know for the future. And yeah, so I'm really excited about this series because my friends really always ask me, ever since I got into watching makeup tutorials and got into doing my makeup myself, my friends always ask me a lot of questions about it, and I love freaking answering questions about makeup because I know so much about it. So yeah, I'm just so excited to start this series because it's gonna be good, and I know it's gonna help my friends, and I hope it helps you guys too if you guys are in the same boat as them. And yeah, I just hope it's beginner friendly, and please feel free to leave me any comments on suggestions or anything else you'd want to see and all of that. But yeah, so let's just get into it. So this video is gonna be all about the face, so face makeup. So I'm not gonna do the eyes in this tutorial because I'm gonna save that for another video, another beginner series video. So yeah, I'm not gonna do eyes, but I'm just gonna focus all on the face. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy it and let me know what you think, and yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm just gonna put my hair back so it doesn't get in the way. Okay, so the first step, so like I said before, I'm not going to be doing the eyes in this tutorial because I'm going to do that in another video. So first what I usually do is that I moisturize my face before I start putting my eye makeup on, just so the moisturizer has a little bit of time to settle in. So that's what you always want to do. You always want to use moisturizer before you put your makeup on because that'll just make it look a whole lot better, especially if you have dry skin. And so the moisturizer that I use is the Cetaphil Daily Facial Moisturizer, and it looks like this. And I've just been using it for the longest time and it works for me. And yeah, so I just use this every time. So I put this on before I start my eye makeup so that by the time I get to my face, it has enough time to settle in and sink in and all that stuff. So yeah, put whatever moisturizer you like on before you start your makeup. Okay, so the next step after moisturizer is priming your face before you put your foundation on. So these are primers that I always use. These are my trusty go-to primers. I have been trying out new primers recently, but these are my go-to primers. And so my go-to primers are 2 different primers, but you definitely do not need 2 primers, but this is just a preference thing. You can totally just use 1 primer, but I'm just gonna show you guys what I use. So this is a Makeup Forever Skin Equalizer primer, and this is a smoothing primer. So this is what it looks like, and I have the mini one because these literally last forever. And so this is a smoothing primer, so I use this right here in this area right here because this is where people usually have the biggest pores and stuff. So I use this to smooth out my pores in this area. So that's where I use this. And then for the rest of my face, I use also a Makeup Forever primer, and this is a hydrating primer, and it looks like this. And so this is great for dry skin. So I put this all over my face except for this part. And this primer is really great because it's hydrating, and if you have dry skin, it'll help with not making your dry patches show through when you put your foundation on. So let's start with the smoothing one. So I just take a little bit, like this much. You don't need too much at all. So I just take that much. And then I'm just gonna work it in here. And I also forgot to mention that I also use this smoothing primer to put right here on my smile lines because I have crazy bad smile lines. I don't know, I just be smiling too much or something, and I just get like crazy smile lines. So I kind of just pat in the smoothing primer right here too, and it kind of helps a little bit. Like I still have the smile lines all the time, don't get me wrong, but it helps a little bit, so yeah. And now I'm gonna take the hydrating primer and just put it all over my face where I didn't put the smoothing one. So the hydrating primer, I take like this much, a little bit more, because it's going on more of my face. And the consistency, as you can see here, is kind of like a liquidy kind of consistency. So it's really, really hydrating. Okay, so the next step is foundation. So I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever Stick Foundation in the shade 153 equals Y405. So this is what it looks like. And obviously you could use whatever foundation you like. This is one of my favorite foundations, so that's why I'm going to use it today. I actually haven't used it in a while, but I love this foundation so much. So yeah, with stick foundations, I just draw lines like this on my face. And then also don't forget your neck when you put foundation on, because you want everything to look even when somebody's looking at you. You want everything to look even, so don't forget your neck. And so now I'm gonna take my Morphe M439 brush, and it looks like this. And so I like this to blend out stick foundations with. With liquid foundations, I like to use a beauty blender, but with stick, I just prefer a brush. But yeah, you could use a beauty blender as well. And so what I like to do if you use a brush is that try not to drag the foundation too much. Try to kind of like obviously you're gonna have to drag a little bit, right? But like try to drag and then like stipple too. So stipple means like just kind of tapping it in like this, so it all applies really evenly and nicely on your face. And so this foundation is super full coverage. Like this covers freaking everything, seriously. Okay, and then I'm gonna take it down my neck too. So with the neck one, you don't really have to stipple it. I just kind of like drag it down because, you know, it's okay. Okay, cool. So the foundation's looking nice and good and everything's looking really even. And this foundation is, I'm telling you, is really good. So if you're looking for a new foundation, then try it. Okay, so next is concealer. So as you might have seen in like other YouTube tutorials or Instagram and stuff, it's where you see people having the little tiger stripes all over their face. So that's where we're gonna put the concealer. So my favorite concealer is an Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer, and it's in the shade Medium Neutral, and it looks like this. And I love this concealer because it covers a lot, but it's also really lightweight and it doesn't cake up or anything like that. So yeah, just take whatever liquid concealer that you have, and then so we're just gonna draw little lines here. And some people like literally go ham with their under eye concealer, like literally ham. I don't do that because I don't like it to be too crazy up in here. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you want it to be like super crazy, then go ahead, you know. And so, okay, also, since I have a bigger forehead, I'm not gonna take this concealer up like really high over here, because if you have a smaller forehead, then you would wanna take the concealer higher so that you brighten up that area a little bit more so it looks like you have a bigger forehead. But if you have a big forehead, then you're gonna wanna not put it too high and just leave it like a little bit over here so that you don't bring attention that you have a big forehead and that your forehead looks smaller. So then when we bronze, we're gonna bronze a lot here, so my forehead looks a little bit smaller. And also with concealer, as far as shade goes, you want to get a concealer that's about 1 to 3, I guess, shades lighter than your skin. So I would say this is about 2 shades lighter than my skin. So it is lighter than my skin, but not terribly lighter than my skin. You can do that. If you want really, really bright under eyes and concealed spots, then get a lighter, like a really light concealer. But if you just want a little bit of a brighten, then I would say like 1 or 2 shades lighter than your skin tone. So that's, mine is like 2 shades lighter, and I like it because it's not too crazy, but it looks nice and bright. Oh, and I'm just gonna take my beauty blender and then just dab that in there. And I just take whatever's left over on the beauty blender and then just put it on my nose. because I'm gonna go with the powder highlight on top on my nose, so I just drag whatever's left over onto my nose. Okay, so the next step is that after you put concealer on, you want to set your concealer so that your concealer doesn't crease throughout the day. And this is really, really important. So make sure you do this because you don't want to forget and have your concealer crease and then your makeup's just going to look really off. And so what I'm going to use is, I'm going to use the Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Palette. And it looks like this. Mine's a little dirty because I use it like all the time. So yeah, and then on the inside, it looks like this. So these are the colors. And so I'm gonna go in with this middle banana shade right here, this one, and I'm gonna use this on a Morphe M438. And then so you're just gonna pick up a little bit and then just tap off the excess, and then you're just gonna set it here. So you don't wanna, when you do this, you don't wanna pull, you wanna kind of just like dab it onto wherever you put the concealer. So yeah, the powder, the setting we're gonna do wherever we put the little stripes for the concealer. And so as far as the shade that you want to use to set your concealer, so you can use a banana shade like this. So this is a really good banana shade. And also in the Anastasia contour kit, she also has a nice banana shade. And also what you can do is use translucent loose powders. So like the Laura Mercier loose powder or the Too Faced powder or even the Airspun powder from the drugstore. So you can use translucent powders or pressed powders. It really doesn't matter. But I would say if you have medium to deep skin tones, then you want to look for a powder that has more of a yellow shade in it, so more of a banana-y shade in it, because that's gonna look best on your skin tone. Except if it's translucent, then it's supposed to not show up, right? So then that would be okay. But if you're looking for a pressed powder, then I would recommend, if you have medium to deep skin tones, to use a shade that has more of a banana color in it and a yellow tone in it, because that's gonna look the best on your skin, because you don't want to put a straight up white powder under your eyes unless it's translucent, because that's gonna look super crazy and you're gonna get a flashback like no tomorrow. So yeah, don't do that. Okay, so next we're gonna contour, and I always powder contour. I don't really cream contour all that much unless I have a whole bunch of time, which I never really have that much time, so I never cream contour. But yeah, I always powder contour, and I always pretty much use the Shade and Light palette, or I use the Benefit Hoola bronzer. Those are two really good contour shades. So for today's contour, I'm gonna take these two shades right here. So this one is the lightest, and then the middle one. So this one is just a nice more cool tone shade, and this one is like a little bit warmer. So I'm just gonna mix those two together. And this is on the NARS Ita brush, and it looks like this. And this brush is super fucking expensive, like literally so expensive. I don't know, it's like $45 or $50, something like that. And I got this when I first started doing makeup because I watched a whole bunch of YouTube tutorials and everybody was talking about how this is the best brush ever and blah blah blah, and I didn't know much about anything about makeup, so I went out and got this brush. But this, and don't get me wrong, this is a great brush. It's really really good for contour, and I really like it now that I have it. But I don't think you need this brush to get a good contour, what I'm trying to say. So don't think that after you watch this video you need to like I did, you need to go out and buy this brush right away, because you don't. You can find other ones and it's totally fine. But yeah, this is just the one I'm gonna use because I mean shit, I spent so much money on it, so I literally always use it like all the time. Okay, so I'm just gonna dip into this and dip into this and then tap off the excess. And I forgot to mention that every time you use a powder, whether it's eyeshadow or powders that are gonna go on your face, always tap off the excess so that you don't get a burst of color just, you know, exploding on your face. And okay, so for the contour, we're gonna put it obviously right here, right? So we're gonna put the contour in the hollows of the cheeks so that it looks like you have nice like little cheekbones and you're just like looking hella snatched, right? And so yeah, so what I always do is I go like this, I hold my hair, and I always, my indicator is to start right here, so kind of where my my sideburn meets my ear right here. So this is where I start, and so I put my face like this. And so I'm gonna talk before I show you guys. But yeah, so I put my face like this, and then I can see where the hollow of my cheek is, and it's just a good indicator for me. So yeah, I'd recommend doing that too. And also, you don't want to take your contour too far down, because that's gonna defeat the whole purpose, and it's gonna create shadows in the wrong places. If you bring it all the way down here, it's just gonna create shadows where you don't want them. So my rule of thumb is that when you're contouring, take it from here to where your eyebrow ends. So I always take it from here to here. So just a small area right here, but trust me, it'll make a difference because it's gonna really snatch that cheekbone. So yeah, so now I'm just gonna show you guys how to do it. Okay, so first what I do is I just put the line down, and so I'm not gonna leave it like this because it's not blended, right? So I just kind of draw the line down first, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold this brush from the bottom of the brush, and with the light hand, I'm gonna feather the product upwards. So always remember, when you're doing contour and you're blending out your contour, always blend upwards. You don't wanna blend downwards because that's gonna, again, create the wrong shadow. You're not gonna create a shadow if you blend downwards, because you wanna blend upwards onto your face so that this shadow is nice and lifted, so you look lifted, right? So yeah, blend upwards, never blend your contour down. And yeah, so there it is, and I think it looks pretty good. So I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. Alright, so next what I'm going to do is I also like to contour right here, so my jawbone right here. And I like to contour here because it makes your jaw look really sharp, nice and sharp. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to use those same two colors that I've been using. And so yeah, you're just going to lightly draw the line. And then, okay, so for your jaw contour, you're gonna wanna contour it down, okay? And just think about it, because if you were to blend this upwards, it would just look silly because you would just have contour right here, and this is the area we don't want it in. So yeah, with your jaw contour, you're just gonna blend it downwards. Okay, and then next I'm just gonna do a little bit on my forehead, not too much because I'm gonna bronze here anyways. So I just take it, and then with my forehead I'm a little bit more rough because it's a lot of space, and I have a big forehead, so I have a lot of place to put it. But if you have a smaller forehead, then maybe be a little bit more careful. Okay, so the next step is bronzer. And so what bronzer is gonna do is it's gonna obviously bronze up your face, and then also it's kind of gonna blend in the contour a little bit more so that everything just looks nice and seamless and blended together. So along with bronzing up your skin, it's also gonna blend in your contour more, so that's always good. And so I'm gonna use the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Medium Deep Bronzer. And this is one of my favorite bronzers, and I'm gonna take it on the Morphe M527. And so this is a really nice brush. It's really fluffy on the top, as you can see there. And so you want kind of a fluffier brush for bronzer, because this isn't like contour where we're gonna put it exactly in a really precise place. This is something that we're just using to bronze up the skin, and so you want to use a fluffier brush so that it just goes on nice and you can blend it really easily. So yeah, I usually just start with my forehead. And yeah, like I was saying earlier, if you have a bigger forehead, then you're gonna wanna bronze up a little bit more. If you have a smaller forehead, then you probably won't need to bronze as much or as further down. And I just do the same thing with the bronzer. And then so basically the bronzer is just gonna go everywhere that we contoured. Okay, so next is highlight, everybody's favorite part. And so I'm gonna be using the Becca x Jaclyn Hill highlighter in Champagne Pop, and it looks like this. So this is one of my favorite highlighters, and this honestly looks so good, I think, on all skin tones. So that's why I really like it. And I'm going to take it on the Morphe M310 fan brush. And so the powder highlight we're going to put on the tops of our cheekbones. So I'm just going to load up the brush, tap off the excess. And then so you're just gonna wanna put it here. So with a highlighter, don't go too far down into your cheek area. Just keep it like up until right here. So again, kind of follow that like a little bit more further than the bottom of your eyebrow, but just like on the tops of the cheekbones. And then I always take it up here too, just so that it doesn't look like the highlight is just one line, just like kind of abruptly there. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. I'm gonna take it up here. And then I always take it up here on my temples too, just to give it, and my forehead, just to give me a nice glow. And then just go over it. And then I also highlight my nose right here. So I just go straight down the middle like this. And then the tip of my nose right here. And then the last place I highlight is my Cupid's bow. So I just kind of put the brush over my lip like this. And then next I'm gonna put on blush. So I always put on highlighter and then blush, because highlight is something that it can look abrupt on your face, and so it's good to have it blend out and not look so harsh. So I always put on blush after highlight, so that I can, with my blush brush, I can kind of go upwards and blend the highlight too, so it just blends the highlight even more. So yeah, that's why I do that. And so for blush, I'm going to take my MAC blush in the shade Margin. And this is really, really messy. And also, this is my favorite blush ever. And I use this so much that the little thing broke out of here. But I still use it because it's literally so good. And this is kind of like a shimmer blush, but it looks so freaking nice. And it looks nice on medium tan skin. So yeah, I just love this. And I'm going to take the Real Techniques blush brush. And it looks like this. This is my favorite brush to put blush on with. And so yeah, I'm just gonna take a little, and then I always smile when I put my blush on. I just gotten so in the habit of it that I can't not smile when I put my blush on. So yeah, I just smile and then put it on the apples of my cheeks. And then after I got it placed, and so I'm gonna take the blush upward and blend it in with the highlighter. So yeah, just blend it upwards into the highlighter. And so everything's just gonna blend out a lot smoother. Okay, cool. So that's it with the face, you guys. That's literally it. And so now what I'm gonna do is put some setting spray. So let me go get that. Hold on real quick. Okay, so to set my face, my favorite setting spray, and one that just really works for me in all situations, is the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. And so this is a really popular one. But today I'm gonna use this Morphe setting mist. It looks like this. And this I got recently, so I'm gonna try this out for the first time. But yeah, you could use any setting spray. And so yeah, I use a lot of setting spray because my skin gets dry, and then putting powder on top of it, the powder gets dry on top of my dry patches. And so I put a lot of setting spray at the end because I want everything literally to melt into my skin and not look dry. So yeah, that's why I put a lot, but you can put as much as you think you need, you know? But yeah, so let's just see how this goes. Okay, and then what I do is I just go with my hands and literally just fan myself. And I like to fan myself afterwards and not let it like air dry on my face, I guess, because I just want it to dry right away so that the spray doesn't move down on my face or anything like that. So just wherever it's put, it just places and locks in. Alright, so after that, I'm gonna put on some lipstick. And since I have a kind of a dark eyeshadow look going on, I'm gonna do more of a nude lip. And so this is my favorite combination. So I'm gonna do, this is the Rimmel London Tiramisu lip liner. So I'm just gonna line my lips with this. And then I'm gonna take my Clinique lipstick in the shade Tender Heart. And this is just, this combo is just so good. Okay, and there we have it, guys. That's literally my face routine. That is how you get a full face of makeup. That's literally how pretty much everyone does it. And so yeah, let me just go put on some eyeliner and then finish my under eye eyeshadow and then put some mascara right here, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back, and yeah, so this is a finished look, and this is the end of episode 1 of the beginner series. So I really hope you guys liked it and enjoyed it. I hope I didn't go too fast or something. So like I said, please feel free to leave me any comments or anything of suggestions, or hey, you went too fast, or hey, I don't get why you did that. Any questions you guys have, anything like that, leave it down below. But yeah, that is the end of the video, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have not already, then be sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video. And yeah guys, I'll see you guys next time.